Hey folks, going to be doing a solo playthrough of Twilight Inscription here, playing against the AI-driven player. Um, I'm only going to be showing one of my sheets at a time, just so it's easier for you guys to see like how I'm marking things off. I've got the other ones off to the side over here, but I'll be interchanging them in and out. And then I have the AI player set up over here. So I'm using the AI version of the Mecatol Rex board, which will show this. The AI players move or used for 1 to 3 player games. So if you're playing a 1 and 2 player game, you have to add the uh, AI in here. And then there are 2 tracks that are being. There's several tracks, but these 2 are the strength and votes. So when a war comes, you're going to tally the whatever the number is above. That's the strength plus a random die roll for the first, second, third, and fourth battles, or I guess second era events is when the potential war comes out. And then these are for the votes. So these are the votes they'll use in between when the council events come out. And then this down here is the what did they call that? That's the goal track. And whenever these symbols are rolled on the dice, it's the doubles for these 3, and then just the regular green one for this one. They will, so for if they reach this for the navigation goal gets flipped, or the industry goal gets flipped, or the expansion goal gets flipped. The warfare goal will get flipped here, or they will take Mecatol Rex if they get that many symbols up there to Mecatol Rex. And then you just calculate points, and there's a chart in the bottom here that's you can or there's a chart in the rule book that will tell you how well you did essentially. You don't necessarily have to get more points than the AI. You just have to get more points than what it says in the chart. um, you can see I've got the objective set up here. Um, the first one is the prospector, and it says claim 5 of the planet systems on a navigation. So I just have to have 5 circled, or uh, or if he gets, or the AI gets there. Not sure if it's a he or not. Then we have core tracker for on the expansion. Cross out all resource icons on 3 planets. So I'd have to fully explore 3 planets. That seems like it's a lot to do. Then we have diversified production. Claim 3 commodities of each type on an industry section. So I can use the doubles. That counts as 2. So in their example. And then I have United Front for the warfare, which I have to mark all 10 nodes in 2 rows in order to score that objective. I have the council events. I'll set up the votes. That's going to be different than what would be done during a normal game. So I'll go over that when we get to it. And then I have the event deck here ready to go. We're going to go through this whole, almost this whole thing. And then that's it. We can get started. So the first, let me switch back over here. The first thing we're going to do is reveal the first event card. So the first event card is Fledgling Empire. And it says choose an active sheet to spend this card's resources. So I have 2 of the influence. Now on the influence on the navigation board allows me to claim 1 explored system, and I start with 3. I've explored out 3 systems, so I think what I'm going to do is I am going to claim this, or I'm going to use this as my active sheet, navigation. So the first thing I do is I have to spend these 2 resources. So I can use 1 resource each to claim an explored system. I am going to claim this system right here, which means I put a draw circle around it. and it is a dashed line around this asset, which means that I can keep this until I spend it. And then I have another one. I can claim another explored, and I believe what I'm going to do is claim. I'm trying to get over here to Mecatol Rex as quickly as I can because I want those victory points. I will go ahead and claim this one. Or no, I can't. I can't because I have not explored out there yet. So I'll let that drive forward. Erase it. I will just do this one here. Here, maybe that gives me my faction ability. Oh, my faction, which I randomly drew at the start of the game, is the Titans of Ol. And once per round, when you unlock a planet, you may deploy one Hell Titan. Anomalies do not block its deployment, so I'll go over that. I'm going to claim a planet here probably in the next round or two. And then my special ability is Terraform. On expansion, cross out all resource icons on one row or column of an unlocked planet, or erase all marks on an unlocked planet, including marks on assets except the planet cost. So it allows me to reset a planet to regain the stuff or to fill a whole row or column. So that's pretty powerful. So I might want to do that. I think I will. I will use my second one, symbol, influence, to circle that. Now that was a dotted line, so that means, is this dry enough? Can I erase that now? Yes, okay. So the dotted line now means that I get that resource and I spend it immediately, that commodity. So what I do is I come over here to my industry board, and that was the triangle resource. So that's here, so I can cross the leftmost triangle resource out. So I'll leave that there right now. So that takes care of this card. I've spent both of those resources. I don't believe that the AI spends those because that would be kind of super powerful, but let's look and see. Yeah, they only get marked on the focus die. Okay. Perfect. So now we take these, so that finishes this strategy card, but, well, it finishes number one. Number two is roll the dice and then spend the resources on the dice. So we'll just set this up to the side. I'm going to roll these dice. Let's get this out of the way. So this is what I rolled. I get to spend these resources, and the AI is going to spend these resources. If I had unlocked any of these dice on my active board, which was my active board is still the navigation board. That's the one I chose, even though I marked off the one thing on the industry. That was because I claimed it from this board. So now I have to spend. I'm going to set those aside. I'm going to bring this up here. These over here. So I have these resources to spend. So on this board. So I can spend, I have one of each basically. So I can spend these two to explore one adjacent system, twice, one for each icon. And then I can use this one to claim a thing. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to spend this one to explore from here down to here. Then I will spend this one to explore from here to here. And then I will use this one to claim this right here. And that was a dotted line. So that means I get to come back over here to my industry board. And I'll mark off the next one. And we'll pull back my board. Now, now we go to Mecatol Rex. Now we resolve these right here. So this symbol, we got one crossed off there. The square, we got one crossed off here. And then the blue, we've got one crossed off here. So that takes care of that. That's all the AI does right now. And that's it. We go to the next event. Get these dice out of the way here. And the next event card is the Echoes of the Past. Choose an active sheet and then spend this card's resources. It's one of each resource. So let's see. I can keep navigating, but I think I've done enough for right now. I think what I'm going to do is expand. I'm going to choose the expansion board as my active sheet. And I have to spend these 3 resources. Alright, so I have not unlocked any planets, but I can. So what I can do is I can come here. I have my navigation sheet here, right? So I have this planet right here that I have claimed. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to unlock it. So I'll put an X through it to indicate I'm going to use it. And then I come to my board here, and I have to unlock one of these planets. I will unlock... Let's start with this industrial planet. I will unlock this industrial planet. So I spent that resource from my navigation board to here on my expansion board. Now I have to spend the 3 resources from the card. That's one of each resource. So I can come here and I can mark off 3 of those, or I could start marking off stuff from my space docks. But I think I'm just going to focus on the planet. And what I will do is I'm just going to mark off these 3 here. I'll just mark off one here, and one here. So I'm on my way to expanding into that planet and exploring it. Now, according to the Echoes of the Past card, I will roll the dice and then spend the dice resources. So let's get to that. Okay, so I'll put these 3 dice over here on the player board, or the AI board, and then these are the dice I rolled to spend on my planet board, my expansion board. So I've got 2 of the research or 2 of the influence and 1 materials rather. So here's what I'll do is I'll spend material here. I'll spend influence here, and I've got that in a row, so that allows me to claim this. And then the last material I'm going to use to just cross off for this space station, or space dock rather. So now I have this special resource which I can spend on any sheet, and I cannot spend it here. It's not the sheet does not have it on for me to as a cost for something. So we'll set this aside for right now, and we'll flip over here to the Mecatol Rex board. So these are the symbols that were rolled for the AI, and we will put a cross through there. Another material, which puts a cross through there. And then we got the double influence, which allows us to put a cross through there. And I'm playing on the easy. There's ways to play medium hard, and you basically pre-mark certain things to make the AI further along in the game. So that's that, and we'll switch back here, and we'll go to the next event card. This is the last... oh, hold on. I completely forgot my Titans of Ul ability here that says once per round when I unlock a planet, which I did last round, I get to put this Hell Titan out, and it's in this cross pattern. So let me bring out my warfare board here. Now I have to put this Hell's Titan on this. It has to be touching the first thing I place. Or placement rules for anything is it has to either be touching the deployment line, which is down here at the bottom, or another unit. So where am I going to draw this? When I do a warfare, when you're playing solo, you fight the AI on both sides. So I think what the best thing for me to do at the moment, because his power's at 3 already, is I think I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to deploy it right here. So it's touching the deployment line, and it's in the cross pattern. And I went through this section here, so I will circle that, and I will get a victory point at the end of the game for that. So that's my Hell Titan. Now we go to the next event. We have First Ventures. This is also a strategy. Choose the sheet, the active sheet, and spend the card's resources. I'm going to be getting 3 materials. So what do I want to spend 3 materials on? I could use those materials to build a cruiser on the warfare sheet. Or I could use them elsewhere. It's going to allow me to explore. I think what I will do is use those 3. I'm going to make this my active sheet, the warfare sheet. And I will spend those 3 materials. I will spend those 3 materials to build a cruiser. So I will spend 1, 2, 3, and then I circle this to claim it. That's a victory point. And I draw a 3 line somewhere. Now it has to be adjacent to a existing. I'm going to draw in those nodes just so I know where they are at. Adjacent to or touching the deployment line. So I could build it. Let me think about this for a moment. Verify that I can do this before I do it. Yes, that's how that works. Perfect. I'm going to deploy my cruiser from here to here to here. So it's adjacent to this. What was that thing called? That was a Hell Titan. And it gets me, I can circle this. Gives me that victory point at the end. So those are the 3 pink resources. So now I'm going to roll the dice, and we'll spend the dice resources. So we'll get these dice here. I'm going to move this off to the side for the moment. We'll put these over here. Here are the dice I have to spend on my war board. I've got 2 materials and 1 research. Two materials and 1 research. Well, I could start building my next cruiser, and then I have 1 research. I can spend that research to build an infantry. And I can build an unlimited number of infantry. And I will put my infantry, so I currently have 1, 2, 3, 4 power over on this side, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 power on this side. I can put an infantry. I can put an infantry here, and it's just a single dot, and that allows me to claim that. And I can put that infantry there because it is adjacent to this cruiser. So that's what I'll do there. So that's my play with my warfare, and we'll slide that aside, and we'll look over here at the Mecatol Rex board now. So the double materials gives us a slash there. The double influence gives us a slash there. And then the double research gives us a slash there. Okay. And now we are on to the next event. Now we're in phase 2. So an event card will happen at some point, or a war card will happen at some point. Relics discovered. Choose the active sheet and spend this resource. So it's a single research resource. So I think I'm good for the war board for right now. Research allows me to explore an adjacent on the navigation. I can use it in the expansion. Or I could use it to claim on industry. I haven't really done a lot in industry. Let's do industry real quick. So I have 1 single resource, and the green resource allows me, the research resource allows me to claim an unmarked adjacent space, unmarked space adjacent to a scrap space. So there's only 1 scrap space to start with. Let's go ahead and we'll claim, by claiming something, I'll draw a circle around it. So I'll draw that. So that's the circle. I immediately claim that, and I put an X through it right here, the leftmost one on this track. And I've completed that column, so I get 1 resource. So I will underline that, and that allows me to circle one of these resources. Sorry, no, I don't circle that yet. Not until we do a production phase. Let me let that dry, and then I'll erase that. That does not get circled yet. Oh, sorry, you didn't see me underline that. I underlined it because I've completed that column. All right, so that's that. Then we roll the dice, and I apply the effects to that board as well. Let me just slide this out of the way so I can roll these dice. There's my 3 dice. There's the 3 dice for the AI player. So we'll put these 3 dice up here. I'll slide this back up. All right, so I have 2 materials and 1 research. The materials allow me to scrap a space, and the research allows me to claim a space. I think what I will do is I will use this one to scrap this one. Then I will use this one to claim this one because it's adjacent to a scrap space. and that allows me to underline my next +1. And then I can scrap one more, and I can scrap anything adjacent. I think I'm going to have to scrap this one right here. Okay. So that takes care of my industry board here with my dice. So I'll set that to the side, and we will flip over here and mark off the AI player here. So we'll do one there, we do one there, and then we do one there. And then that's it for Mecatol Rex. And we go to the next event. Border conflict. So here's the first war card. Advance the deployment line. Alright, so I go to bring my warfare board up here. Advance the deployment line. That means the deployment line is now up here. Okay. Now resolve a war against each neighbor using the sections immediately below the deployment line. So if I look at my board here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 power here. So I will draw 4. And then on this side I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I will draw a 5 there. Not draw, I will put a 5. So the AI player is going to attack me on both sides. So we will flip over. We'll do the right side first. So it's my power of 4. Their power is currently the farthest one to the right marked off as 4. So they are 4 plus the roll of a black die, which is that symbol. And that symbol indicates or no, sorry, that's for the voting is when that rolls. That does not, that's for the voting, not for the attacking. So it's 4 against my 4, which means we both, we tie. So his is going to be 4 for the other one as well. We'll switch back here. So a tying means that both of these get marked off. However, I have 5, and it beats his 4 strength. So I will get this as a bonus. I will win that. And then we draw out the next of his to indicate that he no longer increases from there. And that is the warfare phase. And I have that resource now that I can spend, that green resource. Alright, so we'll go over there and we'll go to the next event. The next event is a strong foundation strategy. Choose an active sheet and spend the 2 influence resources. So, what do I have here? Influence resources. I could build a PDS. For warfare. Or I could... I don't want to use my navigation because that just allows me to claim things. I could claim things on my industry board. That's powerful. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do here. I could unlock my war sun is what I could do. But do I want to... Oh, let me erase that because I haven't actually gotten the production thing yet. Huh. Scrap it or claim it. I think that might be more useful. Yeah, I'm going to do the I'm going to do the expansion board here as my active board. Before I do that, though, or as I'm doing it, I guess, I have, where is it? I've circled it somewhere. Oh, it's on my war board. So we'll go to my war board, and you'll see that I have a green resource right here. I'm going to spend it. So I will put an X to it to indicate I'm spending it. And I'm going to do that to mark it off here for this neural motivator. I'm going to spend it there. And this says per turn that I choose this as my active sheet, I can on each unlocked planet, I can cross out one material or one influence in a row or column that has a population as an asset. So that would be this column or this row. And I will cross off this one here for this row. And now I have these two influences to spend, and I can only really spend them here for this one and this one. Okay, now that is that card. I'm going to roll dice and spend resources. So we'll slide this down here. These are the resources for the AI player, and these are mine. And I have 2 researches and 1 influence. So what I can do is mark off this, and this will give me this, and that's a population, and I instantly mark off on the population track. Then, so that was that one. The other one that I spend just has to be spent here. And then the influence I'm going to spend here, and that allows me to claim this space dock, which allows me to use the pink dice on one of my other sheets if I so desire. Now, when I spend that, though, it has to be on the active sheet. Right? Yes, because I'm spending that resource to mark it off on the active sheet. I don't necessarily want to do that on this one. I think what I want to do that with is what other special resources? I have the yellow special resource that I can spend. Yeah, I have the yellow special resource that I can spend. And that would be spent on that. It's going to be spent over there on the navigation. Huh. It would allow me to explore more quickly. I'm not going to use it. Well, I need more planets to do that first. I'm not going to use it on this one. So I haven't spent that yet. So that marks off this. So that goes away. This goes over there. And we will switch over to Mecatol Rex, the AI player. And we got 2 blues. We got double materials. And we got a single. So he's getting close to Mecatol Rex. He's probably going to get to Mecatol Rex before I do. Which, it is what it is. Alright. Next event. Redefine trade routes. This is a production. So I claim 1 commodity on industry for each unlocked +1 icon on my industry chart. So we'll go to my industry chart, which is here. And then I look at my each +1 that I have unmarked or unlocked, which is 1. So that's when I would circle 1 here. And that takes care of the production phase. And now I can spend this as any resource if I wanted to. But I don't want to spend anything just yet. Now we go to the next event. Strategy, toward a new home. Choose an active sheet, and then I spend 3 materials. So the last time I did the warfare sheet to build a cruiser, I don't have anything in there right now. But I think what I need to do is start exploring systems. So I'm going to use the navigation chart. And before I do that, I'm going to spend... I'm going to my expansion chart here, and I'm going to spend this yellow special technology. So I'm going to cross that out. And then I'm going to cross it out over here. This is my integrated economy. And this allows me once per turn that this is an active sheet to claim up to 2 explored small systems. And I will activate that in a minute, but first I'm going to use these 3 resources here, these which allow me to explore an adjacent system. Do I want to try to get to Mecatol Rex quickly? Because I can go 1, 2, 3. If we roll 1 more research symbol on this die, and it's probably going to happen, he's going to get Mecatol Rex. I still need to get there, but let's do it. Yep, I'm going to spend those 3 here, and I'll go from here to here, then I'll go down to here, then I'll go over to here. Then I will use this integrated economy claim up to 2 explored small systems. I will claim that one. There's nothing in this one, so there's no point in me really claiming it. But I do get that commodity over here. That was the triangle, the pink triangle, so I cross out the next one here. And those were the 3... those were these 3 actions, so that goes away, and now I roll the dice. These 3, yeah, so he got to Mecatol Rex. And then these are the ones that I have to deal with on my navigation board here. I can claim and then explore twice again. Ooh, but we can claim it on the same turn. So we'll have to see. Yeah, let me look at that. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna use these 2 to explore. Here and then to here, and then this one to claim Mecatol Rex. And so let's look and see what it says about ties when claiming something. This is on navigation, claiming a system, page 16 for claiming Mecatol Rex. They immediately claim, then write the number of victories that show. If multiple players claim the Mecatol Rex system during the same step of a round, they each write their name as usual, but they each gain the reward shown for the highest slot that was written into during that step. If the third and fourth slots are filled during the same step, both of those players gain the 3 victory points and 3 votes. So we both get the 7 and the 3. Okay. So, all right, so that is that one. And we'll flip over here. So he's going to go here, and then he will get Mecatol Rex as well. Then we'll get the double there, and then we'll get the single over here. So that's his, but I'm going to slide this out so I can write. We will write in AI player, and then we will write in me. And so I'll slide that back over. And then back on my sheet here, for beside Mecatol Rex, I write in the 7 victory points that I get for getting it, because I was there first, and 3 votes. On my voting track here. Now, does that increase here, or does that increase? Let's see, when I get those. Yes, those are this. So I get 3 of those. Perfect. Perfect. And next event. Convene the council. Here's our first council vote. The perfect timing. Claim 1 check mark on industry for each unlocked plus icon, and then flip over and vote on the stage 2 agenda. So we'll go here, and I have +2, so I get 2 more that I can use to vote with. So now we do the AI council event, and I'm going to set this off to the side. So we'll do a speaker card here. We reveal 2 events. So we reveal the first event, and it's going to be the pass. And then we reveal another event, and it has to. So my pass has a star up here beside it. So the fail of the next one that I put in here has to not have a fail. It has to complement it by not having a fail. And so that's how we do that. And the pass says the player who casts the most pass votes chooses a commodity type. Each player claims one commodity, or one commodity for each claimed, one trade good for each claimed commodity of that type on their industry grid. And then the bottom one says, on warfare, each player crosses out the asset above the strength box for one future war. If they win that war, they do not claim an asset. So, now we cast votes. 6. So I have 7 total votes I could cast. And the AI player is going to be able to cast 2 plus a random roll of the die. Which, if they roll green, it gives them 2 more for 4. So I'd have to spend at least 5. Which I think I'm just going to spend 4. Let's just take a shot in the dark. I'll cross that out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And the Mecatol Rex player is at 2, right? So he's crossed off over to here. So he's getting 2 votes plus a black die. And it is the influence, which if you look at this little chart here, it says it's +1. So he actually has, and I'm supposed to draw this through here like that. Or no, this happened in phase 2. That's where we're at. Yeah, phase 2. So, so he has 2 plus 1 that was rolled here for 3 votes. So he fails. So my voting is more than him. So my player, flipping back over here to the pass, we go to the industry grid. I choose a commodity type, and then each player claims commodity for that type on their industry grid. The player who casts the most pass votes chooses a commodity. Each player claims 1 trade good for each claimed commodity. All right, so each claimed commodity. So I have claimed a square and a triangle commodity. Or no, that's down here. I have 3. So I would choose the triangles, so I would get 3 resources. I have claimed no squares and only 1 circle. So I would choose this. I would choose the 3 triangles to get 3 trade goods. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Then these will go away. And that is the vote. That is the council. So now we go to the next event. It is a strategy. And we have 2 of the influence to spend. So what do I want to make my... I think I'm actually going to go with the navigation again. So I have these 2 materials, the influence, and they allow me to claim. So I will claim this. And I can claim 1 more, which is going to be this 4 victory points here. And then we're going to roll the dice. These are going to be for here. And then we got here. I haven't really been paying attention to any of those objectives. I should probably be going for the expansion one, to be honest with you. Here are my resources to spend: 2 influence and 1 material. And that allows me to basically claim an explored system and explore out to 1. So well, let's do this. I will use this to explore from here to here. I will use this to claim this. And then I will use that to claim this. Perfect. So that's that board. And then over here on the Mecatol Rex, we will have one here. We will have one here. And he goes up one more here. So the expansion is probably the one I'm going to be able to get to first. Or the navigation. And I've claimed 1, 2, 3. I've claimed 3 planets. So I could do probably that one or that one. This is the one I really want to go for. But that one, I'll hit it, I think. I'll hit that one pretty quick, I think. If I focus on industry and, or sorry, navigation and expansion, I think I will hit that one pretty quickly. Okay, that is that card. These go over here, and we're now in phase 3. War. Advance the deployment line. Deployment line is now up here. Big fat 0. Big fat 0. I'm just going to lose because he's at 3. So if I flip over to his card, he's at 3 strength. So his 3 strength beats my 0s on both. So I will circle this. I have 2 minus 1 victory points. That was rough. Not really. It wasn't terrible. Next one, another strategy. 3 materials. So what do I want my active one to be? Probably not here, but probably the exploration, because I have 2 planets I can spend. Yep, it's going to be expansion. I have 2 planets over here. I'm going to cross off both of those planets. 1, 2. I'm going to spend those to open up some of these planets. One of them is going to be this one, for sure. The other one's going to be this one. Okay. So now I have 3 materials to spend. But I also have my neural motivator. On each unlocked planet, cross out one of the, I'm going to do this first, cross out 1 material or 1 influence in a row that has a, or column that has a population asset. So for this one, I can cross out this one material. This is a claim planet, or unlocked planet. Then on this unlocked planet, there's one of those here, but I will cross out this one. I can cross out the influence or the material. And then for this one, I have multiple ones that I can spend here. But I will cross out, actually I'll cross out this column here, this one. Now I have my 3 to actually spend. And I will spend it here. Well, so I get 1 here for completing this column, which allows me to get 1 population. I will cross out this one here, which allows me to circle this. It gives me a blue special technology I can spend. So that was one. I have two more of those to spend. One of them will be here. The other one's going to be here. Okay. So now we roll the dice. Now, I have... Where is it? Oh, it's on this one. So I could spend that there to get the pink one here. I think I will. I'm gonna spend this, and I'm gonna underline this here, which means I can use the pink die on this card. Okay. Put those up here. All right. So now I have two materials, one influence, and one research to spend. And I need to, in order to get the core cracker, I need to start filling these up. So I'll spend it here. That one goes there. So that one's spent. The influence will be spent here. And then two materials. Here. And here. And then this goes over here. So that's my that was my navigation, or my expansion. And then over here, he's got the warfare one, so that flips this warfare card over. So now I can only get the 5.1. He has one up here for the going into the level 4. And he has one here, which starts him here. Right? I think that's how that works, because we had the war phase. Yes. Okay, so that's him. Now we go to the next one. Production, bustling economies. Now we claim, or I claim rather, on my production sheet here. For each +1, I still just have one, but I get to circle one of these. I need to start spending these, or I can use them for victory points. Every 2 is worth 1 victory point. Next, level 3. Another strategy, technological frontier, and it gives me 1 research. What board do I want to spend that on? I mean, I kind of want to just keep going with the expansion here. And I think I'm going to. I want to try to get that objective. So I'm going to make this my thing again. And I have one of the greens. But I also have the neural motivator, so I'll probably do that first. So for each claim planet, I can mark off a material or a research. I will mark off in a row that has a population. Oh wait, that's not a population. Oh, I couldn't have done that. I couldn't have done that one. That's not a population symbol. And I can't do that one. Can't mark off anything on this board. That's disappointing. But here, I can. And I will mark off this here. Now, I have that one green to spend. We're going to spend it here, so I can circle this. It gives me a green special technology I can spend. And that does that. Now I got to roll the die. And I can use the pink die here. So we'll give that, that, and that. These two go over here. These are the 4 for this one. Slide this up. Okay, so 3 influence and 1 material. Well, we're going to do 1 influence here and 1 material here. That's going to oh, this should have been completed. And then this, I get that, and it gives me a population. And then this gets completed. That gives me another population. And that was just these 2. And now I have 2 more influence. And we'll just start crossing them off here and here. Yep. And then this pink is going to go over here for him. We'll flip over. And we're going to mark off 1 here. And we're going to mark off 1 here. And we're going to mark off 1 here. Okay. So now he's reached the end of the single green track. So every time a single green comes out, it's going to be an expansion. So I need to hurry up. I really need to hammer this expansion to try to get this before he flips it, so I can't get those victory points. Number 3, council. All right, here's the voting. So we claim 1 check mark on industry for each unlocked. So let's go back to my industry here. And I have 1, 2. So I will circle 2 more here. I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I can spend. And we do this stage 3 agendas now. So I'll set this off to the side. Here's my speaker card. Stage 3, the first one's going to be the pass, and there you see there's no star next to it, so that means that the fail one has to have a star, and it does. All right, so here's our options. Pass, each player crosses out 1 victory point asset in each commodity row on the industry chart. Crosses out, that means you can't get it. Or each player claims 1 trade good on industry for each war they have won. I think that pass means you don't get it. If you cross it out, you don't get it. crosses out one asset in the commodity row. I think by crossing it out means they don't get it, but when a player spends an asset, they cross it out with a single slash mark. So maybe we do get it? Each player crosses out one victory point asset in each commodity row in the industry chart. So let me look at the industry chart here. They claim it. Unlocks all +1. They claim it. Yeah. I'm thinking that just marking it out means you can't do it if it passes. So I basically want to vote for the fail. And they are voting at 3 plus a roll the die. So it could be up to 5, which would match my 5. I'm gonna do 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then he rolls a die. And he rolled the material. Oh, that's good for me. That means 0. So he only has his 3 to spend here. So here he only had 2. Here he only has 3. Here's was 3. Here's power was 4. So my 4 beats his 3, so I choose to fail. Each player claims 1 trade good on industry for each war they have won. I have won 1 war, so that gives me 1 trade good. It was still better than having to nix one of my things over there. And then he doesn't do anything with the other one. So those will go away. That goes to the side. And now we are on to stage 4. Phase 4. Rightful claim strategy. It's another strategy card with... rightful claim. Another strategy card with 2 of the influence. So I want to do... How am I looking on... Ooh, that'd be a waste of an influence. I need research. That'd be a waste of 1 influence. Do I want to risk that? He's close to getting the other one too, though. Let's go to navigation. Well, wait a minute. I don't want navigation either because those would both be wasted. Let's do industry. We'll have to do industry. I have these 2 symbols. But I do have some things that I've unlocked here. I have 1 green and 2 special blue technologies. That's the green. I don't want to use it for that. The blue ones I can use to either immediately do that one, and I think these three down here immediately give me any. No, those are the blue ones. Spend 4 so I can scrap stuff. Or I can spend it to and then claim. I'll do that. I'm going to spend one of these, so we'll go to my sheet here. I'm going to spend this blue one, Special Technology. Special Technology was there. Spend that, and then I can use it to X this out with spending that technology there. Allows me to scrap that. Now, I still have these 2 unclaimed, or these 2 influences, and I have to I can claim stuff. So one's going to be to claim this, which gives me a blue special die I can use on another thing, and then the other one is going to give, I can circle another one, and I think I will. I still have those. I will do this one, which is double blue. So it gives me 2 blues. Done. Now I roll the dice to see what other kind of damage I can do. I don't get any of these. But I do get a material, or 2 materials and 1 influence. The 2 materials allow me to scrap. And the 1 influence allows me to claim. I will scrap this. I will claim this. Gives me a pink die. And then I can scrap 1 more. I will scrap this. Okay. So those are mine. That's for this sheet. Perfect. Now we go over here to him. And we have 7. He's getting super powerful. Double blues, which means the industry card flips. Three. Yeah, I don't have 3. And then 1 pink, which I already got, and then the doubles, which is here. Okay. Okay. And next, production. So we'll go here to production for each +1, which is just 1. I get 1 more. I need to spend these. Got 1 more. And we're in phase 4 now. Strategy. 3 materials. Now, oh, the navigation is still away from flipping. Okay. But actually, maybe I shouldn't have been marking off his level 4. I don't know about that. We'll see. I'll have to look that up. Because I can explore. That doesn't really help me. Yeah, I'm going to use that for navigation. And I have that blue die and that pink die that I can spend here on navigation as well. I'm going to do the pink die. Yep. So here we'll go. We'll go here. Pink die is getting spent for there. And I'm going to use my 3 materials. Sorry. 3 materials to explore. And we're going to explore 1, 2, 3. And then we are going to roll the dice. Oh man, this is good for me. I can spend the pink die here now. So these allow me to explore, these allow me to claim. So these 2 claiming are going to be claiming here and here. Now that puts me at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that meets my prospector objective. Claim 5 systems on navigation. So I get the 5 victory points for that. So I'll just go ahead and write down the 5 right there. And that's already flipped to indicate that I've gotten it. So that was these 2. And now I have these 2, which allow me to explore some more. I will explore here. And here. And now I will activate my integrated economy. Claim up to 2 explored small systems. I will claim this one, and I will claim this one. And that gives me 2 of the triangle resources, which I come down over here, and I mark off 1, 2, and then I immediately circle this as a victory point. And this pink will go over here. And that's it for my phase. We'll go to the AI player here. And 1 of the green, which is now a double, so that crosses that off. And then the blue means 1 gets crossed off here. And then the double pink, which means 1 gets crossed off there. So I don't have to worry about the navigation anymore because I've already done that. But I do have to worry about the expansion, so I want to get on my expansion board quickly and try to get that objective done. We have a council. So this is in 4. Yes. So we're going to have a... first we claim our... There it is. I have 1, 2, so I claim 2 more. 1 and 2. And that gives me 3 votes. And then we do the stage 4 agendas. And we have our speaker here. And the first one is the pass one. And there is no star. So the next one has to be a star. It is a star. I would keep drawing if it wasn't a star. If it didn't have... Oh, you can't even see that. If it didn't have a star, I would keep drawing until I got one with a star. So the pass says the player who casts the most pass votes chooses a unit type. Each player crosses out all victory point assets for built units of that type on warfare. So that means they can't get them. They cross them out. And then for the industry, on industry, each player spends 1 free trade good for each +1 icon they currently have unlocked. So by free, it means you don't mark it off. You just get it. So I would get 1, and I'd get 1 resource immediately on the board, the active board that I had chosen, which I had just done the navigation board. Or pass. Maybe that does mean you cross them out. All victory point assets for built units. That means you get them as victory points and instead of not having them, I guess. Yeah. Maybe I was wrong about that on the other one. Either way, I only have 3. And if we look over here at his, he has 4. So I can't even, I'm not going to spend any. Which means I don't. How does that work? Was I doing that wrong? Council events. But they do not mark pass or fail. Then the speaker draws a line. The AI casts votes equal. Each player who casts more votes than the AI resolves the outcome that has the star icon. Okay. Which is a positive outcome. Each player who did not cast more resolves the outcome that does not have the star icon, which is... Okay, so I did have that right the first time. So this is crossing them out. I'm going to get the pass vote because there's no star. It's negative effect, which means I can't get the player who cast the most passed votes. So I would choose... So I go to my war board. And I choose a unit type. Each player crosses out all assets for each units. Now it says the active, or the player who casts the most pass votes. I mean, I'm obviously going to choose one that I haven't built any of yet. That I'm probably not going to build any of, which is War Sun. So I'll just cross these out so I can't get them. I can't get those victory points if I ever build those, but I'm not going to. I think I did that right. All right, next one is another strategy, and it's a... Oops. Sorry, you guys didn't see me do that. I crossed out the War Suns because I'm not going to build them. I think I did that right. I am not sure. Forbidden Knowledge. We will do 1 research. So my active one, that's going to be expansion. Not expand. Yeah, expansion. Gotta be. Gotta be. So expansion. First thing I'm going to do once I get over my active board is I'm going to cross out these 2 planets right here to spend them on opening other planets up. And we will open up this one and this one. Wait a minute. We'll open up 1 planet. No, we will open up no planets. what we will do is cross off this space dock, which gives me that. And I'll just go ahead and cross this one off to get the blue one too. And I will spend the green one here. So that's already been spent. Now I have my green, which I will spend here to give me that, which gives me that commodity. So I'll go over to my commodity sheet and I knock off that one. Oh, actually, I completed that one. That was a column. That should have been checked in. So I should have had one more commodity the last time we produced, because I've had that for a while. Alright, getting back to this, I spent that to there. I've got that. I circled it. Now we go to rolling the dice. Come on. And I get the pink and the green. So the blue goes there. I get these 3 dice. You know what? I probably screwed up. I probably should have did one planet instead of both of the other ones here. Anyways, I can use, yeah, because most of this stuff is wasted now. Like that's wasted. This will go to here. These 2, one will go here, which gives me this. The other one will go here, which gives me this, and it allows me to get another vote. I can spend this on here. But I don't think I will need to. The other ones are just wasted. The other ones are just wasted. Alright. That's okay. That's okay. Learning the game, right? Learning the game. Okay, so the double, he gets one there. The single now counts as a double, and then this gets marked off 1 there. Did we just have? Yeah, we just had the vote, which was 4. Yep. So actually, this should have been crossed off all the way there. And this does nothing now. And we're on to the next card. War. Advance the deployment line. So I haven't done anything on my war. And we'll do 0, 0. He is hitting me for 7. So I'm losing 1 victory point, 1 victory point. Not too terrible. Not worried about it. Sorry. Losing 1 victory point, losing the other victory point. And next round is a strategy with 2 of the... So we're going to do the expansion because I really want this victory, this 9 victory points. That's going to be our active 1. We will spend... Yeah, we're just going to spend the 1 here. And the other one will be wasted, and then I'm going to roll dice. This is probably a bad move. or not optimal move, I guess is what I should say. And I'm keeping the green and the pink, and then all these. That'll go there. Got that, which allows me to cross this off, which gives me this and this, which allows me to get another vote here, which gives me the +3 there. And I have the green. Uh-oh, did I go on the back of that a little bit? It did. That's okay, it'll dry and it'll race off. Draw that a little better. Let me try to erase that off of here before it dries permanently. And the rest of that's just wasted because I don't have any other planets to spend it on. But that's okay because I did complete the core tracker. Well, maybe it's not okay, but I crossed out all resource icons on 3 planets. Boom, boom, boom. So I get 9 victory points. I'll put that in my objective here, 9. And that gets flipped, so I can't do, so that nobody else can do it. And then these 2 will go over here. That's done for my turn. We flip over here. We got the doubles here. We got the doubles here. And we got a single here. And next card. War. Oh, a throne for the taking. That is the one that ends the game, right? I think so. Play continues until players resolve the stage 5 event, a throne for the taking, which ends the game. Yep. So that was this one, a throne for the taking. Then score your sheets and determine the ruler of the galaxy. So we resolve a war. So I go here to my war. 0, 0. I'm going to lose both of them. All right. So now we score the sheets. So there were 2 cards, 2 event cards that didn't come out because that one was ahead of them. They're randomly shuffled and then put out in a certain order. So since we're here, let's just do this. So the objective, which was mark all 10 nodes in 2 rows, all 10 nodes in 2 rows, I did not meet anywhere. So I get 0 for the objective. Then for the sheet, I have 1. And that's it. So it's 1 minus 1, so that cancels that out. So minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5. So I have minus 5. So my subtotal is minus 5 victory points. So we'll set that one to a side. Now we're going to come to the expansion. So I did my objective already. So we'll go to the sheet. And on the sheet, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 victory points. And then that gives me a subtotal of 13. Then we'll go to the navigation. And the objective I did, which was 5. And then for the sheet, I have 2, 4, and then 7. So that's 6 plus 7, which is 13 for the sheet. And that leaves my subtotal at 18. And then we go to the industry. And the objective for the industry was claim 3 commodities of each type on industry. I did not claim 3 of the yellows, so I don't get that at all. So that's a big 0. And then for the sheet, I have 3, 4, and then every 2 is 1. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, make sure I didn't miss anything. That's 8 for my sheet, so that's 8 total. So now we total up the sheets. I'll just slide this over. So my total score is going to be 8 plus 18, which is 26, plus 13, which is 39, minus 5, which is 34. So my final score is 34. And if I look in the book here at the solo chart, if I get less than 40 points, it's a loss. So I did lose. Probably focused too much on the... I didn't pay attention to the objectives. That was problem number 1. Other than those 2 that I realized, oh crap, I should probably do this. I hardly did anything in warfare. Although I'm wondering, let me look at warfare here real quick. Triggers 2 wards. Strength totals cannot be changed after step 3 of a war event, unless an ability explicitly states otherwise. You can partially build units. When an ability grants a player additional strength. It is possible to have a negative victory point total on the war sheet after the end game. So that was probably a problem. I should have spent a little bit more time in the war section. But I'm wondering, so like if we look at the war board here, I think I played this right. I think when you do a war, you only, like if the second phase war only contains units in this section. It doesn't contain your previous units. Oh, you know what though? I was forgetting about my Hell Titans that I could have been putting out every time I unlocked a planet. I should have had 2 more Hell Titans out here, which probably would have won me one of these. Yeah. And I had I had the other dice that I didn't allocate yet, and other technologies, special technologies I didn't use. There's just a lot going on that you have to try to keep track of. I probably could have done better. Well, I know I could have done better. But what I'm thinking is for the war events, this is the new deployment line. Each player counts a number of marked nodes in the left section immediately below. So maybe I was supposed to be counting these down here. So like the new deployment lines up here, and that includes, so everything below here would be totaled. I still would have lost. Well, actually I would have won. This is the second war. I would have won the third war. I would have won both of these. Because he had a value of 3. So that would have been -2. So it would have been only -3. The fourth one, he had a value of 7. I would have lost, but had I known I didn't start over from 0, I probably would have built like 1 or 2 things here maybe to balance it out. Either way, which would have given more victory points. I probably would have been above 40 had I played that properly. Probably. Either way, that was fun. I enjoyed it. I have to erase all of this stuff now. Which I think in the rulebook they say the erasers on the end here can be used for like making minor mistakes, but once you're done, just basically get a piece of cloth and wipe the boards down, versus using these things so that they don't wear them out that much. I did not get any relics. So I didn't go through the relic cards. Where are the relics? Oh, they're on the navigation. Relic symbol allows you to draw a relic card, which has a special victory point as well as ability that you can use. And I think I did I did do the voting properly. So that is a solo play of Twilight Inscription. Got through that in about an hour and a half or so. Not bad for a first play. Probably would have been quicker if it was just me not having to narrate everything. I could easily see this game going 2.5, 3 hours with 3 or 4 players. Although, if everybody's simultaneously taking their action and they're not, this game is going to depend a lot on analysis paralysis, lengthwise. If you are, if you have somebody in your group who is going to hem-haw around on decisions a lot, then this game could very well take the normal length of Twilight Imperium. There's just, it's good that they narrow you down to a single board, but choosing that active board, I think, is where the analysis paralysis is going to come in. Once you have chosen your active board, you know, your decisions aren't that great, or aren't that numerous. You know, you're going to be set in what you can do. It's going to be looking at that initial card that's drawn that has those resources and trying to determine where do I want to allocate those resources on which board. That's what's probably where the analysis paralysis is going to come in. But as long as maybe you put a time limit on it and say, hey, everybody has to make a decision within 60 seconds. Just to keep the game moving. Otherwise, you could be here all day. But I did like this. There was enough variety. I did have, you know, I did have to focus on the objectives that helped me try to focus what sheets I wanted to choose from. I did make some bad decisions, and I had a ton of those resources wasted when I was doing that exploration that probably should have been spent elsewhere, and I should have not, but it was 9 victory points. 9! That's huge. And the war card that ends the game came out. It was the first. There's only 3. I think there's only 3. No, there's 4. There's 4 Phase 5 cards, and it came out. It was the second Phase 5 card, so the game ended as early as it could have. So when you set these events up, you'll notice like there's 3 level 1 cards, right? So you shuffle the 2 blue level 1s together, and then you deal level 1 blue, level 1 black, level 1 blue. And that's how you do all 3 or all of the event decks. They all have blue and the black cards, and you always do blue card face down once, then black, then blue, then black, etc. And then obviously 5s on the bottom, 4s, 3s, 2s, and 1s. So the level the throne for taking is a blue card, so it's either going to be the very last card or it's going to be the second card for the black for the level 5, because you're going to deal 1 blue card face down, then a black card, then a blue card. So if this is the black card that's on top, that's when the game's going to end, or it's going to end on the very last card that's drawn. Which is what happened here. It had ended quickly rather than me having 2 more rounds to go through, 2 more choices, things to 2 more rounds. The voting was interesting. I think it'll be better when I'm playing with actual players rather than the AI. So when the voting for the players, you're doing your pass, and then you're voting. You're allocating your votes towards passing or failing on a single card rather than using two separate ones. Um, it's nice that they put the star there to indicate what's the beneficial option. Um, that'll be helpful. But I think that part of it will be much more interesting, much more political intrigues type of thing uh, with players versus the AI here. But anyways, this has already gone way too long. Um, this was a solo play of Twilight Inscription. Uh, Enjoyed it. It did give me that Twilight Imperium feel a little bit. I mean, you're not moving pieces out on a giant map. You're not. The war was kind of the war aspect was probably the least Twilight Imperium-ish. Everything else, you're exploring, you're getting resources, you're spending those resources, etc. That was very Twilight Imperium, but the war aspect is the least Twilight Imperium-ish, in my opinion. Um, but yep, those are my thoughts. Twilight Imperium or Twilight Inscription solo play. Thanks for watching.